normal functioning of the executive branch. The Supreme Court has stopped the presidency itself. That's what they've done.
Yep.
And really, it's been an amazing period of time this last hour. There are people elated all over the country. I've seen such happiness and spirit. Sometimes you don't see that, but this case is very important. I was elected on a historic mandate, but in recent months we've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president.
No, I think this is another component, is that if you take a step back and you think about it, doesn't it seem problematic that one judge in one area can overrule the entire, like, popular vote of the presidential election? Like, this seems like a very obvious power imbalance. Clearly, it should not work that way.
Stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers. It was a grave threat to democracy, frankly, and instead of merely ruling on the...
That's what I think is funny, is all these people said Trump was a threat to democracy, but in fact they were. This is the biggest threat to democracy you can have. When you have a democratic election and then the person that wins tries to implement the policies that they ran on, and they constantly get handicapped.
In cases before them, these judges attempted to dictate the law for the entire nation.
Yep.
In practice, this meant that if any one of the nearly 700 federal judges disagreed with the policy of a duly elected president of the United States, he or she could block that policy from going into effect, or at least delay it for many years, tied up in the court system.
That's clearly what happened.
This was a colossal abuse of power which never occurred in American history prior to recent decades. And we've been hit with more nationwide injunctions than were issued in the entire 20th century.
Wow.
Together, think of it, more than the entire 20th century. Me. I'm grateful to the Supreme Court for stepping in and solving this very, very big and complex problem. And they made it very simple. I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Look, I'm gonna hit this motherfucker
and
with
Justices
this
Alito,
pipe.
Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas.
Pipe game wicked.
Thanks
See?
for this
Knocked him out
decision,
once.
and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide
It's more realistic
basis.
than
And
Final
some
Fight
of the cases
because
we're talking about would be
look, I hit these people with one
birthright
hit.
citizenship, which now
They're
comes
dead,
to the
and it
fore.
should be that way.
That was meant
In
for
Final
babies
Fight,
and
like you hit
slaves.
one
It wasn't
person
meant
with
for
like
people trying to scam
with a
the
pipe,
system and come
and then
into the
like wow,
country
they get up. Like
for vacation.
this is a little bit more realistic, I'd say.
I've been waiting on this for a while.
What's up, guys?
I've been waiting
Leave
on
a
this
comment.
for a long
40-year-old
time.
virgin here. Yep, 40-year-old virgin. Oh my God, I can't believe. Don't tell nobody I told you that,
It
by
was
the way.
same date,
It's
the
pretty
exact same
embarrassing.
date, the end of the Civil War.
Like
was
my
meant for
manhood
the
is
babies and slaves and
totally
so it
hurt.
was. But this
That's
lets us
literally what I said.
How's it going?
Yep.
Uh,
The thing is that,
Ainsley?
again,
What's
Trump
up?
is a scammer. He can immediately see a scam. Yeah, it's an obvious fucking scam.
go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other
How the fuck did that even happen in the first place? It's so ridiculous.
priorities of the American people.
Thank God.
We have so many of them.
This guy
I have a
looks
whole list.
like
I'm not gonna bore
Saddam
you, and I'm
Hussein.
gonna have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she can talk as long as
You guys
she
want me to
wants.
turn
This
on
is
the
a very
lights?
important decision.
Look,
This is a
like the
decision that
arcade
covers
lights?
a tremendous amount of territory.
Do you guys like that?
But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. And with that, I'd like you to listen to the words of Pam Bondi. She's an incredible Attorney General. We're very proud of her. And as you know,
Except for the Epstein files.
I hope they got some food.
Not so
so
much
many
with
others
those.
that worked on this case and other cases. And I think they're doing a great job. Pam, please say a few words.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for fighting for all Americans. Americans are finally getting what they voted for. No longer will we have rogue judges striking down President Trump's policies
This guy got a
across the
freaking
entire
hammer.
nation. No longer.
Obvious fucking expert.
Today, in the 6-3 opinion, Justice Barrett correctly holds that the
Thank
district
you.
court lacks authority to enter nationwide or universal injunctions. These lawless injunctions gave relief to everyone in the world instead of the parties before the court. As the Supreme Court held today, they turned district courts into the imperial judiciary. Active liberal justices, judges have used these injunctions to block virtually all of President Trump's policy. To put this in perspective,
Son of a bitch.
there are 94 federal judicial districts. 5 of those districts throughout this country held.
I feel so confident thanks to weight loss by hers. I'm back to my goal weight. My friends and family are all noticing my results and how happy I am now. I just took a free online assessment to get started, and medication is delivered straight to my door if prescribed. I love that I get 24/7 messaging with providers through the first app at no extra cost. That way all my injection questions are answered. It even includes an app with tracking tools that remind me to stay consistent with my healthy habits. It also gives me delicious, nutritious recipes. It's like having a little extra help in my pocket anytime.
Alright, I'm gonna
And
have to
ongoing
quit this game.
check-ins are included
Right,
at
this bitch
no
looks
extra cost
ugly
too,
as
so I feel
fuck.
very supportive.
Shut the fuck up.
35 of the nationwide injunctions.
That seems a little bit problematic, you know what I mean? Seems a little bit undemocratic.
Think about that. 94 districts and 35 out of the 40 opinions with nationwide injunctions came from 5 liberal districts in this country. No
Remember what I
longer.
always said?
No longer. These
very
injunctions
small
have
percentage of
blocked our
people cause all
policies
the
from
problems.
tariffs to military readiness to immigration to foreign affairs, fraud, abuse, and many other issues. The judges have tried to seize the executive branch's power, and they cannot do that. No longer. No longer. And on immigration, on a side note, today marks 2,711 arrests on these terrorists and these gangs. Total arrests today with HSI investigations. And thank you, Stephen Miller. Thank you to Homeland Security. Thank you to everyone working hand in hand with the FBI on all of these transnational gangs. TDA has been a huge terror to our country, as well as MS-13, as well as Sinaloa cartel.
Stephen Miller?
No
Yeah.
longer.
That guy didn't fuck
No
around.
longer. These injunctions have allowed district court judges to be emperors. They vetoed all of President Trump's power, and they cannot do that. This has been a bipartisan problem. It has lasted 5 presidential terms, 5 different presidents, and it has ended
What's
today.
crazy too about this is that
What the
it
fuck,
happened
dude?
right now, which means that they have 3 years to just go absolutely fucking hog wild. 3 years of them just being able to post whatever the fuck
What the fuck?
they want. That's massive.
We will continue to fight for
All right,
President
Chuck,
Trump's
have to play another
policies.
game.
I want to thank the Office of White House Counsel, Dave Warrington, you and your staff
Yeah,
have
of
been
course.
incredible. Our Solicitor General's office, John Sauer, Sarah Harris, and Todd Blanche and Emil Bovey. Todd's going to say a few words because we've had another major ruling today on transgender books and some other great wins that we've had. But no
Transgender books? What the fuck is wrong? Like, we have homeless veterans and people are thinking about transgender. Who the fuck is doing this?
No longer will they have
Oh my
this power
God.
in our country. It is the president's authority under his
How does this
executive
happen?
branch to do everything to fight for the American people, and he will continue to do that. That's why he was overwhelmingly elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Today's a great day for the rule of law. It's a great day for the Justice Department.
Let's hear it.
And it's one that's been a long time coming, and one that every American should have been waiting
stop
for
talking about transgender
with
stuff?
bated
Yeah.
breath. And so I echo what the President said and Attorney General Bondi, that the Supreme Court did a great thing today, not only for this administration.
It's
but
red
for-
tape, they make mountains out of molehills. No, the transgender ideology stuff is not a mountain out of a molehill. It's basically a molehill that people are just fixated on. I know that it's a very small issue, but I would view it in the same way as I view flat Earth. The reality is that if I knew somebody believed in flat Earth, that would completely disqualify them, in my mind, from being a decision maker for anything else, because their decision-making faculties have been compromised. And I think transgender is another good example of that, especially when it comes to minors and it comes to sports. What it really is it's a benchmark of this person is this delusional that they think this thing that is so far removed from reality that it provides a frame of reference that this person cannot be allowed to operate and be expected to operate as a rational actor. It's illogical. It's completely illogical. That's the reason why the transgender issue matters so much. It's like people who believe the Earth is 6,000 years old, or people that believe it's flat, or people that believe that there's like lizards living in the center of the Earth and they're the ones controlling everybody here. Like, these ideals are just so batshit crazy stupid that they provide a frame of reference that disqualifies that type of a person from having the opinion on anything else.
Or every American in this country. If not for the injunctions case, we would be here talking about another great decision that came down today.
It's an indication of broken logic.
Which
Yes.
restores parents' rights to decide their child's education. Seems like a basic idea, but it took the Supreme Court to set the record straight, and we thank them for that. And now that ruling allows parents to opt out of dangerous trans ideology and make the decisions for their children that they believe is correct. And so we thank
They should not be teaching transgenderism in anything other than maybe the last year of high school. Children should not be getting exposed to transgender ideology. The reason why is because it creates a false dichotomy. If gender is truly a spectrum, then why is every person who doesn't immediately completely identify with their gender that they were born with, why is it that the only solution to that is being trans?
Oh, dude.
Like, we used to have tomboys, we have femboys. There's a lot of people on the spectrum of gender. Being trans is very different than being a masculine female or being a feminine male. It's a totally different thing.
God, we're gonna have to put fucking afterwards. Nah.
Hey, come guys. Go from out of pills to refills, same day. Prescription refills made easy. Another good reason to check GoodRx.
Should I be deported? Maybe. Maybe. What is it here? Why is it an issue? You think every person born in America had legal parents from any time should be deported? No, I don't think they should apply it retroactively. I get that you're getting your feelings hurt about this. As opposed to decide, don't decide with this. But yeah, no, I mean, if your parents came over here illegally, they should have deported your parents and you shouldn't have gotten citizenship. Like, obviously, like, it already happened, so it's hard to, like, revoking citizenship is something I feel like would be very problematic, especially it's like, how are we going to do that? But, like, it should have never happened in the first place. And I'm not going to, like, retroactively go back 50 years and punish you
Son of a
because
bitch.
something grandparents
I don't think I have the
did.
right
No.
controls for this.
I mean, kids don't have a choice where they're born. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I mean, why would that matter? So the kids don't have a choice, so that means we just have to take every kid to the person that has a kid here? That's stupid. How is that in the best interest of Americans? It's not. It's an emotional argument. It's not worth taking seriously.
And for that. There's been multiple decisions over the past several weeks that just show why this nationwide injunction ban had to happen. For example, what I mean by that is local district court judges issuing decisions that are clearly contrary to law just because they don't like the policy of President Trump. And when it gets to the Supreme Court has to correct it. But that takes time. The Attorney General thanked our lawyers, and I'll do it again. Our lawyers are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to fight these injunctions and to emergency appeals, emergency stays, going back to the district court judge, asking them to change their view. And so their hard work is really paying off today. But over
Someone saying compassion is bad? It is whenever it allows you to justify putting people that you are responsible at risk or doing something that works against their best interest. I think that compassion for bad actors is actually cruelty. And so when you're talking about like compassion for everybody around the world, you can't really apply that. You can't do that. There's a limit. Yeah, there's no like, again, it's an emotional argument. It's not worth taking seriously. Weaponized empathy is bad. Yeah, don't let people weaponize your empathy against you to make you subvert your own goals. This is what people love to do. They love to try to emotionally manipulate you into doing something that's against your best interests. Don't let anybody do that.
Past few weeks, we had a stay of an order that prevented DHS from moving aliens to a third country. We had a stay of an order that stopped the Department of Defense from implementing military readiness of the deal that President Trump signed. We had another stay of an order forcing reinstatement of fired executive branch employees entirely within the president in Article 2 of his right to do. We have a stay, as you all know, of numerous DOJ cases. And again, every one of those stays requires a tremendous amount of work and effort by the lawyers and parties involved. And they should be doing other work. They should be doing the work that the president and this administration demands and has a right to demand, and not fighting these local judges who don't make decisions based on the law. They make decisions because they just simply don't agree with the administration's decision about policy, and that's
I think that's a very good point. It's like the entire premise that the judicial branch is completely unbiased is completely untrue. If that was true, then you wouldn't have people that are arguing about which president gets to appoint which judge to the Supreme Court. It obviously is something that matters.
Thank you.
And by the way, these people also love to complain about activist judges whenever Kyle Rittenhouse was declared innocent. Do you remember that? They were really mad that judge was biased. So, I mean, there's precedent for this with everybody.
Any questions?
Oh, here we go.
Yes, for Pam, please.
Go ahead. Sure. Thank you, Madam Attorney General. So, as you know, the Supreme Court did not rule on the underlying constitutionality of the president's birthright citizenship order. So, what is the plan now? Are you going to try to implement the EO just in states where there isn't a legal challenge?
Yeah, so birthright citizenship will be decided in October in the next session by the Supreme Court, unless it comes down in the next few minutes. I guess it could come down. I think they're still deliberating right now on some cases. As you heard, we just got transgender books, which is a huge win. But most likely, that will be decided in October in the next session. However, it indirectly impacts us because, as you correctly pointed out, if there's a birthright citizenship case in Oregon, it will only affect the plaintiff in Oregon, not the entire country. So yes, it's indirectly, but that's pending litigation, and we're waiting on that in the next term.
And how concerned are you that the Supreme Court will come back and determine that the executive order is unconstitutional?
We're very confident in the Supreme Court. But again, it's pending litigation, and that will directly be determined in October, but it indirectly impacts every case in this country, and we're thrilled with their decision today. Peter.
General, thank you for being here to take our questions. A couple questions to the both of you. The EO goes, has a 30-day grace period before it goes into effect. Is there any thought about trying to make it effective immediately within that period of time?
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Did you know that Mint's
did I
unlimited
know that?
premium wireless for $15 a month is back?
Who is this?
I told you it's Ryan.
This seems like a scam text.
This isn't a scam text.
If this is another wellness fee thing, I'm out.
Seriously, Mint's offering unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month right now. This isn't some pyramid scheme. There's no catch. It's just a great deal.
That's what someone who runs a pyramid scheme would say.
I don't even know how I got into this sweet job.
We're going to follow the law.
There's no reason to do that. If they've got the border closed already, the people can't even come in and take advantage of the 30-day grace period, so it's not even a problem. And the people that do, it'll be like 12 people that do it. It won't even matter.
We're going to make those decisions, and we're going to do what's right in the
Yeah,
government.
I'm just being
And
honest.
the DOJ didn't ask the justices to rule on the merits
How am I
of the
supposed to
birthright
dodge this,
citizenship ban, just for explanation purposes. Why?
Sure, because that's going to come down in October in the separate. This was huge because it's indirectly impacted today. As I said, it's case by case. Let me reiterate, of the 35 of the 40 nationwide injunctions filed against this president, against his executive authority as president of the United States, 35 of them came from Maryland, D.C., Massachusetts, California, Washington. And that's crazy.
I can easily expect that. So out of all 40 of them, 35 came from 5 out of 94. What a total fucking power imbalance. That's crazy.
These 5 districts, so yes, it indirectly impacts us. It will be a separate decision in October. Next question.
Thank you, Mr. President. A question for you, sir. Do you believe this ends the power of the lower court judges to stop your agenda? Do you see this as a full green light for your agenda going forward?
Well, you'd have to really speak to the lawyers about that, but this is really also a decision based on common sense. It didn't work the other way. It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a
Trump is
liberal
live soon? Is that true? No, this is something different.
judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years because their decision would sometimes take years to overturn. We've overturned many of the decisions, but it would take years to do it. And we have to act quickly when it comes to illegal immigration. We have murderers, killers, we have drug dealers, we have what they've allowed to come into our country. Should never be forgotten. It should never be forgotten what they've done to our country. And we have to be able to act very quickly, and we're going to do that. Thank you.
Just as
Thank God.
Tony Barrett, sir, I know that you praised her and her opinion here in this case. She has taken some heat, though, from some of your supporters who have labeled her weak, a squishy, a rattled law professor. What is your take on that?
I don't know about that. I just have great respect for her. I always have.
I love how like she just basically puts out a bunch of these like insults that like she got from Twitter, and she's like says to the president, "Well, do you agree that she sucks?"
And his decision was brilliantly written today, from all accounts. Yeah.
Mr. President, what would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, people voted for that in the White House. Logically, your argument makes perfect sense. Maybe try putting yourself in the shoes of someone in that specific scenario. Like an illegal immigrant child with citizenship may be difficult. Well, if they already have citizenship, I don't want to take it away. I just don't want it to happen anymore. I don't want to retroactively remove citizenship.
Oh, that kind of hurt, bro.
Be,
right up my ass.
Where do you draw the line? Do you draw the line at under 18? Because I feel like 17 is basically the same thing as 18 in terms of like somebody being an adult. Like you could have a job at that point, right? Like I don't want to go and retroactively get rid of this, but I think you just need to stop. Like, turn off the water hose, right? I mean, you're not going to get rid of all the water, but you can at least fucking stop the spread of it. Yeah, you can't do it retroactively. Of course, I understand why people would be worried, but yeah, there's no way they're going to do it retroactively anyway. It's impossible. Like, logistically, it's
the
impossible.
Constitution. This is what it's all about, and this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution
Alligator
has been brought
Alcatraz?
back.
Oh, yeah. Remind me of that. I saw
Thank you
this.
so much, President Trump. Illegal crossings at the border are 0 now.
Zero.
Yeah, see, that's the reason why it doesn't matter if it takes 30 days. Because there's not going to be a bunch of people coming in having this be a problem in the first place.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Trump 2028!
Do you intend, President,
Who's that guy? I like him. He's working the cameras.
Oh my fucking god. Even the camera guy is doing that? Wow.
Policy presidents of the border. Do you intend to engage personally with leaders from South America, not only Central America, in order to
I do that anyway.
situation
I do that anyway.
I need to have a perspective of meeting some presidents from South America as visitors and
Well, you should, as an example, not South America, but NATO over the weekend. They have great respect for our country now. They did things that nobody thought was possible. They took funding from 2% to 5%. Nobody thought they'd ever pay the 2%, and now they're paying the 5%.
Wow.
It's over $1 trillion more a year. Think of that, $1 trillion. Nobody thought that could happen. That's a different group of people, different countries. But we get along with a lot of countries. We are respected again. Our country, the U.S., is respected again. Was not respected 6 months ago.
Man.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, you have a deadline coming up on trade in 2 weeks. Which countries, if
On
any,
what?
on trade, on tariffs,
Yeah.
sir, which countries, if any, are close to agreements with the administration?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal with...
You made a deal with a trade deal with China. Oh boy.
Almost anything is possible these days. But that goes for cybercriminals too. With AI, they can create threats so realistic, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. That's why Genie AI-powered scam detection is now included in our all-in-one protection, so you can live digital life on the bright side. Norton 360, advanced tech for advanced threats.
In my own practice, I've seen an explosion of this type of title fraud since 2008. The best way to protect yourself from this type of fraud is to consistently and habitually check and monitor your title.
People.
Probably 4 or 5 different countries. With the UK, it was a great deal to vote. And we're in the process of making some others. But ultimately, in fact, Scott is here. Howard Lutnick, these 2 guys have been doing an incredible job, and the people that work with them have been doing an incredible job. But you know, we have 200 countries, you could say 200 countries plus. I can't do that. So at a certain point over the next week and a half or so, or maybe before, we're going to send out a letter. We talk to many of the countries, and we're just going to tell them what they have to pay to do business in the United States. And it's going to go very quickly. But some of the bigger countries, India, I think we're going to reach a deal where we have the right to go in and trade. Right now, it's restricted. You can't walk in there, you can't even think about it. We're looking to get a full trade barrier dropping, which is unthinkable. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but as of this moment, we'd agree to that, go into Indian trade. We're going to be trading in China. That's going to come a little bit down the road, but we're going to be trading in China. We have a lot of great things going, and we're getting along with countries, but some will be disappointed.
Isn't it crazy? I feel like, I don't know, it seems like the tariffs kind of worked.
Because they're going to have to pay tariffs. And we've taken in already hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. No inflation. The only problem we have is we have a Fed guy that doesn't understand what's happening, and it would be great if he'd lower the rate because we'd be able to borrow a lot cheaper. Why don't we keep it on this subject? This is such a big subject. You know what? Trade is so big, but this, I don't know, in a certain way, this might be bigger than trade. I think this is bigger than trade. Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahed.
So on transgender ruling, the Supreme Court ruling that parents with religious objections can pull their kids out of public school lessons that use LGBTQ.
I disagree with that. I don't think that it should be for a religious reason. I think that a parent, okay, so I disagree with this in 2 ways. Number 1, I disagree with this because it should not even be taught in the first place. Number 2, I disagree with this because I don't think that religion gives you a unique ability to not listen to something. I think any parent should be able to say that my kid shouldn't learn this. You shouldn't, like, religion is not a magic get out of jail free card. If this doesn't align with your ideology, then your kid shouldn't have to learn it. You shouldn't need a religion to say no.
What the fuck?
I agree with the principle, but you guys can see clearly what the difference is that I'm talking about.
Materials.
It's a great
No reaction to everyone today.
To set a precedent, it's a great step. I'm happy to see it, but I'm bringing up my point of view, and I think a lot of you guys agree with what I'm saying.
The ruling is a great ruling, and I think it's a great ruling for parents. It's really a ruling for parents. They lost control of the schools. They lost control of their child. And this is a tremendous victory for parents. And I'm not surprised by it, but
Why is he throwing a watermelon? What the fuck, dude?
It was such a huge miscalculation to try to push trans stuff to kids. Massive
it's a bomb, my bad.
miscalculation. I think it alienated a lot of people away from LGBT. And I think, honestly, the entire idea of LGBT and being transsexual, it shouldn't be involved with LGBT. Being transsexual is how you see yourself. Being gay, lesbian, or bisexual is how you see other people. One of them is a sexual orientation, the other one is a gender identity. These are two very different things, and they should have never been combined in the first place. It's illogical, it doesn't make any sense.
Bring life back to normal. So it's wonderful. It's parental. And I kept saying, we will give you back your parental rights. They were taken away, and this is a tremendous victory for parents. Yeah.
Mr. President, if you look at the back at the last week, it's been extraordinary in terms of the action in the Middle East. We're at The Hague.
Hell of a week, hasn't it?
Now, if you
Hey guys, leave a comment.
action in the Middle East, we're at The Hague.
Hell of a week, hasn't it?
Now, it's been a crazy week. He's right. Crazy fucking week.
Son of a bitch, dude.
If you believe that Iran, I'm wondering now, sir, if you believe that Iran has given up its long history of ambitions with nuclear weapons, or what you would like to see from them
Temporarily, they have.
to prove that they do, and what type of meetings is your administration looking for next week with Iran?
So Iran wants to meet. As you know, their sites were obliterated. They're very evil. Nuclear sites are what now has been proven. We had some fake news for a little while. The same people.
Sure did. Sure fucking did. People rooting for the terrorists supporting Iranian government.
That covered the Hunter Biden laptop was from Russia. The same people that did 3 or 4 other Russian.
It's called the B-Rap Boys.
No, wait. Just listen.
B-Rap
They came
Boys.
up with something that,
Look it up on YouTube.
Credit that our great pilots and these great American. I mean, they what talent.
It's set in New York.
And they hit it right down.
I used to live in New York.
52,000 feet. Think of this dark, no moon. You couldn't see a thing. And they hit the refrigerator door, as they say. That's the size of a target. And overwhelmingly, and it's amazing what was done. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we took out the 2 of the other sites also. In addition to that, we finished them off. That was a very evil intention. I believe that, and again, time will tell, but I don't believe that they're going to go back into nuclear anytime soon. They spent over $1 trillion on nuclear.
Of course they're not going to. Everybody who was advocating for it is dead, and they blew up the sites, and everything's destroyed after they invested probably hundreds of millions of dollars into it.
Your ED could be in your head, but for too long, outdated eating meds have been obsessed with your plumbing, giving no thought to the spark that starts in your brain way before anything even twitches. That's why we made Regia Ready, the first ED med that works on both brain and body, with sildenafil and tadalafil to help optimize your body's natural response, and apomorphine to complement that reaction in your brain. So don't just get a reaction, get ready.
And it's like, if Trump bombed them once, he's obviously going to do it again. So why would they do it? Now, they might do it if we get a Democrat president or a president that doesn't have the same type of, that it's not as definitive as Trump, then yeah, you might see them try to rebuild after that. But they're probably not going to be rebuilding anytime soon. I wouldn't expect that at all.
never got it together. And nothing was moved from the site, by the way. To do that is very dangerous. It's very, very heavy material.
But Donald, didn't you see the satellite photos that were on Twitter? Wait a minute. Well, what about all the trucks? Donald, didn't you see this thing that was on the satellite photo that's publicly being circulated? Like, doesn't this disprove the Mossad and the CIA's intelligence briefings?
Cars were most likely the cars of Masons because they were pouring concrete at the top, at the hatch, as you know, the hatch going into the nuclear site. They wanted to reinforce it, and they had some Masons there pouring concrete. By the way, that concrete was obliterated. It hit exactly at the concrete. It was, I don't think it had a chance to dry, but everything is down there. It's under millions of tons of rock. Please. Yes.
Your administration has said that El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the hemisphere.
It is.
So why did you get canceled temporary protected status for that country? Was it part of the deal?
Well, we'll take a look. We've had a great relationship with El Salvador. They have a fantastic leader.
They're great.
They built a massive prison system.
Isn't it crazy how much all the problems go away whenever you just put all the people that cause problems in jail? That's crazy, right? It just worked that well. Wow.
And I don't know exactly why, but it's a hell of a system. And we bring
say there is a huge problem in education. I feel sorry for your lack of criticism. Very few good news in the future. Yeah, we do have a problem with education. And one of those problems is that we're teaching kids about transgenderism instead of, understanding science or World War II. Or understanding AI. We should be teaching kids technology. We should be making them and preparing them. I wonder what's more important for a kid to understand, transgenderism or accounting?
over there, and when they go there, they don't get out. And frankly, when they hear they have to go there, they become very nice people. They become very nice people. It's a tough system, but it's a brilliant system, and it's a system done by a very, very good leader. And we'll talk about El Salvador with a lot of respect. Yeah, please.
Question for the Attorney General. As we go into negotiations and talks with Iran, are you demanding not only that there would be no uranium production inside of Iran, but also that Iran would turn over all existing stockpiles of uranium?
Well, you know, we're a little early for that, but something like that, yeah, we'll do something like that. Let me say that I've been saying for 25 years, even as a civilian, you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon, and that's what happened. It's been obliterated. It would be years before they could ever get going, and I really think it's probably the last thing. They have to recover from a hell of a tough war.
Would you also be demanding that the IAEA have full rights to inspect in Iran?
Or somebody, or somebody that we respect, including ourselves.
And a question for both of them and the Attorney General. Under birthright citizenship, if this is implemented, who would be tasked with actually vetting citizenship? And how, like, would this be a situation where you have nurses and doctors checking for citizenship of parents? Or?
This is all pending litigation. It's going to be decided in October by the Supreme Court, and
you have to have on the birth certificate who the parents are, and if one of the parents is a citizen, then it would go into how is this even a conversation? Any basic database would be able to immediately aggregate this without even a second.